Hey, how's it going? Uh, hmm. Hey, please take a look at my signs before I get started. I guess I should unplug it. So, let me just move it closer. There, is that better? How's that? Is that good? Okay. So, I have to be plugged in. There. Normal angle. Okay, so I have some cards and I want to pick up where I left off in my last video where I was talking about how I feel like we need to get together and start solving our own problems independently of the government as much as we can, without angering them and, and antagonizing them so they want to come after you when you're just trying to do the basics. Like, I don't even know. Everybody's just trying to, stay housed, have the bills paid, have the car running so they can go to the job. I don't know. I guess it's my own mindset. I just don't see myself getting angry enough to do something retaliatory and stupid to the government. As an individual or even part of a group, it was never a safe thing to do. I would advise against that particular tack of dealing with your issues going forward. So yes, but I think the key is for us to really get over whatever our issues are with each other, because we have more important things to do. And there's a main reason I feel like we need to do that, and I feel like it is because we need to get together and deal with whatever we can with our climate situation. I know that it seems like, what can I do to change anything about this overwhelming problem? But it's going to take, I think, a multi-pronged approach. And so any skill set that anyone has, I think, will find a place in what is essentially going to be a cleanup. So I'm sure there's going to be technology involved. There already is. There has been. Although it seems like as soon as you hear about it, you don't hear about it ever again, like it got suppressed or something. And that never happens, right? That's just my imagination, right? So, and then I guess there's that to contend with too, because I don't think this is like a conspiracy theory thing. I think that products that compete with other manufacturers and producers of products that perhaps have an in with the government or are actually in the government in some capacity, they have their thumb on the scale and they eliminate competition. So again, you hear of all kinds of great things and you see them like once and then never again. And don't you ever wonder about that? Like, who is responsible for the disappearances and why? I mean, to me, it seems kind of obvious. Right there, the competition. That's enough to get our crazy country to go way too far in being competitive. You can't just eliminate the competition. That is unfair, and when people find out about it, they don't like it. Pardon me. So anyway, I think, like, personally, I don't have a technical or biological, chemical knowledge to deal with any of that, like, professionally or academically. I just, watch a lot of stuff and pick up what I can here and there, but there are basic things we can all do that, like, they're not nothing, like, before I got, like, bicycles, for exercise I used to go out in my wheelchair and just sort of, like, go as if I was taking a walk, but I just be in my self-propelled wheelchair, and that's how I screwed up my shoulder. So, but what I would do is I would just notice so much crap in the gutters and stuff, and here there are signs, like plaques embedded in the sidewalk where there's a drain, and it says, don't put stuff down this drain, like, no trash. Biomatter, I guess you can't really do anything about that, would be existing if, like, the civilization wasn't there, the houses and the drains and all of the infrastructure. So, but it clearly says, like, all over, I think, the state, at least on the western half of the state that I'm in, I have seen them all up and down, like, don't put crap, because wildlife lives in that water. And so that is something that, like, I didn't need to be told that, because where I'm from, in LA, if you've ever been to the LA River, it usually doesn't have much water in it. It'll just have, like, a thin trickle going down the middle, except for if there's a storm or something. It can just fill up really fast from the ocean to, like, Dodger Stadium. It's crazy. It fills up, it's loud, you think the world is ending, and the water is black, and there's just all kinds of crap. You can see a little bit of crap in this dark water, but before the water comes, because of previous times that has happened, that trash and junk that it picks up, it gets left in, like, these drain gate cover things, and just, like, whatever people that get down there and do legally or illegally, like, a lot of junk ends up down there, is what I'm saying, in this riverbed, and it's completely concrete, the majority of it. Like, there is a part of it that is actually, like, dirt and plants growing out of it, but what I have been talking about prior to that description is basically a concrete reservoir. I mean, yeah, just built on top of the river bed, it's weird. So, yeah, I mean, I totally understand. Like, you don't want, like, all of that weird junk. A lot of it ends up in the ocean. Some of it sort of comes from the ocean and ends up in the drainage areas. Like, I don't know, I guess it's a marshy situation. Again, we just built right on top of all of that, and little bits of it, like, are peeking out here and there. And so I already was aware of, like, and I know that, like, the water somewhere gets cleaned for, like, people and your animals to consume and bathe in and all of this other stuff. So to make it clean after traveling and being in the water with all that other junk and literal caca, you just don't want the water adulterated any more than, necessary, right? So it was just clear, like, pick up. So anyway, I'm wheeling around the neighborhood, and there's all this crap in the gutters where they're like, don't put stuff in the gutters so it'll go down the drain. Like, that's what the sign is. And then it has a picture of, like, fish on it. That's how you know it's protecting the wildlife. Anyway, I started going around and noticing there's just, like, people, like, there is a drugstore on one end of the street, but it also has food, and then there's a grocery store and the fast food right there on like the four corners at the end of my street. And then at the other end there is a dispensary, and you can see where people come out of the dispensary, take the thing out of the package, and just drop the package and keep walking. So I started carrying a bag around with me when I was rolling around to pick up trash, and that is just, I don't know, maybe it seems like a demeaning thing to do, or there's already like street cleaners, or there's a janitor wherever like you are where there's just trash. I wouldn't rely on just that if you care about this and you're there, and supposedly they have all these other people that are supposed to do it, but there it is, and there you are. So I just started going around with a bag and picking stuff up. And I've done it off and on, like, I think my whole adult life, just because, I don't know, the pollution commercials in the 70s really made an impression on me. Like, the Indian that cried, looking at the freeway and the pollution. And at that time in LA, like, the sky, I always say the sky was brown. Okay, so maybe it was more like tannish gray, but it wasn't good. I mean, they had days where they had alerts where they're like, if you have asthma or you're old or you're young, it was like a drug side effect list. You should stay indoors, and then really, if you're fine, just don't be outside too much because of the air pollution. That's terrible. And so I know it got cleaned up when I still lived there, like, still like a kid, like in my teens by then, but it got a heck of a lot better. And then now I keep seeing pictures where I'm like, is it getting like all polluted again? But now I have no doubt, because we have no proper environmental controls, like, on the government level anymore. Like, they don't work properly. If they still exist, it's like a way to use it to, make money and not do the right thing with it. So, what I'm talking about, like that little pickup of trash thing, like, anybody could do it anywhere, and it would be helpful, I think. And that's just something anybody can do. Like, you don't need a degree or anything like that to do that. And then there are people that have the certification and the training and all of that to do more complicated stuff. But, changing your habits make a big difference too. Like, I got in the habit when I still lived in LA of putting almost everything in some kind of jar or something, because cockroaches are just a thing down there, and your place can be clean and you won't see any. But the way that happens is not so much about like extermination or something like that, but more about like, don't leave stuff out. And it's hot all the time there too, so it makes whatever you leave out start to go over fast, and that heat also makes the smell come up, so it attracts vermin, like, not just roaches. Like, you just gotta put stuff in a sealed container, and it keeps the food safe for you, and the bugs are like, there's nothing to eat here, there's no reason to be here. I lived at this one place in Seattle, and my neighbor, it was an older building, and the construction was It was just such a mess. Like, if I thought about it too much, I would be worried about it collapsing, like, what do you call it? Imploding. So anyway, under my kitchen sink, there was a giant hole in the wall, and it was dark in there, but I think what I could see was the other side of the next apartment, because a smell of just mainly garbage, because that's probably what was right on the other side, like it was probably also their kitchen too. But it just smelled like that person did not take out the trash, and you could also smell it like when you were out in the hallway outside their door. And so I know they were constantly on him, and so I knew when I moved in there were some roaches, and I just super cleaned. And again, like, I don't leave stuff out so there can be like anything to attract anything. I just got in the habit of it. But there's so many reasons to, for instance, take food that you get in plastic packaging the heck out of that stuff, put it in wax paper, put it in a glass container, put it in a paper bag. I know we all want to seal stuff, and that is why, like, hey, if you don't care if it's curled up, you can put deli meat in a jelly jar. Oh, well, in a jar or something like this, right? Like, it doesn't have to be the shape. But if we stop using the plastic products, like if no one's buying them, they're going to stop making that crap. And then, you know, I feel like we will have help from our Sky Nation friends, the extraterrestrials or the extra-dimensionals. I mean, they don't just come from one place, okay? Not any more than a person here comes from one place. And it's so much more than just one planet. But anyway, we will be learning a lot about how to, like, make the technology that we need to deal with the problems like forever chemicals and stuff like that, because there's just so much that we are ignorant of at this point. But they are ready to help us. We still have some like hurdles to meet, or hurdles to get over as the human race, and the time where we can introduce this help and innovation into our general world, our general public. But I mean, if you think we have problems with each other, we're not gonna act right with them like we again. And I think that would be another gain of like dealing with our problems with each other, and like just I really feel like at some point we just gotta say to ourselves, you know, what is the real priority here? Like I could even drop this and come back later and bitch and complain at you, but in the meantime, let's get together so that we can be a force in holding on to water rights. And I by that I mean like the right for just anybody that is walking around on their two human legs or animal to have water that's clean, that they don't have to buy, because yeah. I hope this growling and grunting and inability to speak conveys to you what my feelings on capitalism are, because I feel like it is carcinogenic, practically. Anyway, enough about all of that. I have a Declarations of Mary Magdalene card. I don't have the sequence, it's just today. And then I have 3 starseed oracle cards as well to go along with this reading. So The Declarations of Mary Magdalene card is a 22, and that breaks down to a 4, or adds up to a 4, excuse me. And it's also like 22 is a bunch of ones. That's basically 11, 11. So that's my feeling on it. I don't know. I've never really heard anybody else say that, but anyway, this card says, he or she that revels in outshining the power of God is he or she whom has turned against thy own self. For thy power of God is within you, as the power of God is of you, and outside of you. Thou that seeks to create themselves as the only God, seeks from thy head in power, not from the power of the love of thy sacred heart. Okay, a lot going on with this answer. So I'm going to start with Gnosticism, which I've been learning about for the past couple of years. And Gnosis, the root word, means knowledge. So Gnosticism, I guess, is learning the knowledge, or knowing the knowledge, something like that. On one of the parts of it, actually, am I talking about the right, am I calling it the right thing? Well, I mean, I'm not calling what I want to talk about the right thing. I mean, I have the general subject with the gnosis, but I want to talk about a particular story about creation and he or she that revels in outshining the power of God. Although, what I want to talk about is not someone trying to do that out of malevolence or anything like that. They just were reaching for the light. Okay, so what I'm trying to talk about, is Yale-Baoth, which is the god that is kind of like, I mean, I guess what I understand from this telling is that it is basically the god of the Matrix that we live in, and its creation came from a being called Sophia. But Sophia, also the word means knowledge. But this is a feminine we're talking about. So she was like amongst the hierarchy of like God figures, and so there is in this story the universal source, spirit, God, but it is not knowable to us. We can't like describe it. I mean, if someone has seen it, I don't know that they're talking about like the physical description, and I don't think it's hiding. I think it's just sort of beyond our ken, beyond our ability to sort of understand and process without. I think it drives us crazy. Like, I think it's just, it blows our fuses. So, but we are all of the source, and so is everything around us, and that's what it talked about. But Yale-Baoth is this beast with like different animal parts, like a lion head and like a lizard tail or snake tail or something, and some kind of scary jumble in between. And it's angry and it's possessive, and the personality of it, I swear, Trump is what comes to mind, especially, you know, when he's like angry and like feels like he's not getting, like, I don't get no respect, although he would not ever say that. But you can tell when he feels like he's not getting the right kind of attention from people, or someone says something and people are laughing about it, And so then they're laughing at him, and he does not react well. And this God, because it thinks it's God of everything. It doesn't really even realize that like it was created by Sophia and is a mistake. So that's some background on that. But what happened to make all of that happen was Sophia is like a creator being, I believe, from the story, but she was sort of like a child of God, like a literal like spawn kind of daughter, and she, I guess, while worshiping and seeking the light, because that is generally the physical form of spirit, is the light, and then the light is sort of also all encompassing of everything. So anyway, I guess she was like looking for a physical light and seeking and seeking and seeking, and her longing and desire to do this, she kind of just manifested this thing that thinks it's God, because she was thinking of God. And I don't think she was trying to outshine God. I think she was just trying to like get closer to God and like maybe see its form. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know I said it's a daughter, so you would assume she just saw it. I don't know what happened there. It just came out. But anyway, that story, so it was a mistake. Like, she misunderstood what she was looking at, because she saw a light, but it wasn't the light. So there's always something to just make sure you know, are you paying attention? Because I can trick you here and like, you know, make you go back and have to repeat this particular level. And well, you know, that that's a setback. You kind of have a bit of a mission. So we have to be vigilant and pay attention to all kinds of things, including like what we're sort of idly thinking about. And thankfully, where the dimension that we all live in, the manifestation doesn't happen that quickly. It's speeding up because we're learning how to do it better. But for her, it was like instantaneous. Like, I don't know how her thoughts managed to poot out this Yelda thing, but it's, when I think of that thing, and it's a mistake because she's not the creator being. I mean, I think like as a divine feminine spirit and like a woman, she was a creator in the giving birth sense, but also in like in this other way where she could like literally dream up something inadvertently, and because it's like she was missing information. She didn't have like all of the components for the recipe for it to turn out properly, or you know what I'm saying? Like, she just didn't, she went to go make something and she just didn't have all of the smarts and the parts. But then she did learn of her mistake later, and there's a whole more story all about that. But I want to talk about this Yaldabaoth Matrix thing, because it made me think of like our world and how we say we're in this matrix, and it's like that critter belongs in the matrix part where the submarine is, and there's all those things in the water. I don't think it was water, but whatever medium they were traveling in, this thing looks like it belonged there. So I guess that's really all I want to say about that. Like, I just want to paint the picture of like this box where we're stuck, and not only are we stuck, the being that thinks it rules the box, like the biggest fish in the pond, doesn't even know that there's other ponds, or that there's an ocean, or that it rains, or anything. It thinks like what it has, it made, and that's all there is, and don't ask any questions. And that kind of reminds me of religion in my real actual world and other things. Like, don't ask questions, just do what we told you and accept it, and so that's what I think that was talking about, kind of. Okay, so for thy power of God is within you. So it's not to say that you can necessarily create quite the thing that I was talking about, but I think we can create semblances of these like little box prisons of our own in our lives, and we have to again be vigilant and pay attention. And like part of like, I don't think this was Sophia like wanting to have a domain to rule over, because I think what came out and manifested, I don't think she intended at all. But the manifestation itself had consciousness, and just like, it just right away, it's like, I want to what is the word? Subdue the whole population, and everyone's under my control, and my way or the highway, my rules, you're nothing, my everything. Like, just a terrible situation, but have a party for me. Everybody tell me how great I am. It's like, if you don't do it, you have a problem. So, not a great dynamic in that world. I'm gonna stop right there, and I want to move to the starseed oracle cards, because I'm really wanted to know like what take they have on the whole, like, let's get all together and try and fix things here, because that is why I think all the starseeds and lightworkers, that's what we're doing. Like, we're here to we manifested and incarnated into these lifetimes to help heal the earth and like repair some of the problems and shine a light on all of the darkness and show it and reveal it so that it can't continue hurting people and things. So the first card is your life is a canvas. And there you go, is the picture. You can see there is a figure here on the hillside, and I'm not sure like what's happening below her, but she's got her arm out like she's kind of gesturing like maybe at something, or she's saying like an incantation or something, and it's part of her, I don't know, spell. And the reason I say that is because what I'm talking about is when we get together, and the climate is only one thing that we have to deal with. Like I mentioned in my last video, there are overlapping streams of things that are affecting us and happening in the world right now that a lot have to do with unresolved past issues. Like, the past just can't leave us alone in some cases, and those are things that we also have to fix. But a lot of things I feel like are going to be remade, reordered, redone, and we're going to be starting from blank slates or empty canvases. And so, like I said, I don't know what's happening here. I have like the impression of a valley. I have the impression of a waterfall. I don't know. It's like an unformed picture. And I just saw something with my super pareidolia on this card, and I see a face. There's eyes, see? Nose, right down there. They seem to have a beard. There's a mouth. hairline up here. Do you see it? Neck. So, maybe not spirit, because I just say you can't like really see what it is. Maybe an angelic form observing this person's creation, this person that is of God. So, let me consult the manual. Your life is a canvas. This is the last one. And the subtitles are Artist, Manifestation, Creative Accountability. You're the artist of your life, and your life is a canvas. Take responsibility for your ability to create. Earth is known as a planet of manifestation. Your present moment is based on your past thoughts and beliefs. Your current thoughts determine your future. Okay, so I totally want to talk about that. And let me just read it again. Okay, because I really want to... This made an impression on me when I thought about it. Earth is known as a planet of manifestation. Your present moment is based on your past thoughts and beliefs. Your current thoughts determine your future. So, I watch a bunch of different psychics and card readers, and generally they are saying similar things. Some tend to be a little darker than others, and then others are just like... There's a great contrast when I run across these ones that are kind of like light and love and everything's just hunky-dory all the time, and you know that's not a thing. But what snagged me there was how it talks about our thoughts and beliefs from our past have created the present. And so the next part was our thoughts will create the future. I don't want there to be war. Not anymore. I don't want there to be a world war, and I'm hearing that more and more. I don't want there to be a civil war here in the States. I don't want us people, we people, to be fighting each other and having wars and things. We should all stop doing that, because a lot of the munitions and the vehicles and the airplanes and this and that and the other war junk is also harming the climate that we all gotta live in, including soldiers and weapons people. Like, we need to put that crap down for a minute, find another way to deal with our problems, because we're destroying habitat and beautiful places where people could live. And not only that, like, it's not great to like have the blood of deceased people that died violently in hateful conflict. Like, it's not good for the soil. The energy is not good for anybody. It's not good for the people that perished. It's like, what is the good of wars anymore? Like, who is even gaining? If it's just like a few people gaining and all these other people getting hurt and all kinds of property getting lost, and by property I mean places where people are living, not necessarily like landowners or landlords. I'm just saying people that are on those places where there are dwellings, they would like to stay alive. I think it's pretty simple. And so we have free will, And then if enough of us are like, oh, hell no, no World War III, hell no, no Civil War, like, no to all of those violent things, but hell yes to let's, all be like the adults that we can be on this matter, because I mean, if it takes kids, hell, well, I'll take them too. Everybody that lives here needs to be involved in this as much as people need to be involved in the United States where I live in resetting our government thing and political party and voting and all. Like, everything is urgent right now, and we can do a lot more than we give ourselves credit for or give ourselves permission to do. So I'll just end that rant there and continue. What kind of life do you want to create for the future? What are you being called to create? Reconnect with your manifesting power and align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the vibration that matches them. That's key to, like, I've learned, like, I think I've moved into something else, like, maybe beyond what manifestation is, but you start there, and so this talks about, like, what I learned that kind of changed it, and it's about the vibration that matches the actions that you're taking and the creation that you're making, like what you want to actually create. So it's less about wanting and more about aligning with the vibration of the thing you would like to happen in the future that you would like to create it on that preferable vibration. And well, that's not just manifestation, that's manifestation. Okay, let me continue here. It's never too late to start, and no experience is required. All you need is an open heart and mind and consistent daily action. If you're not sure what you'd like to create, start instead with a feeling of deep gratitude for all that's good in your life right now. State out loud what you're most thankful for. Look for the good in your life, and one thing will be certain. You will find yourself attracting more and more good experiences in your world. This card is inviting you to see your entire life as a canvas, and the picture is completely up to you. Color it with your thoughts and feelings. Create the life that you most long to live. You may also be called to be more creative in your everyday life. What have you been called to create? How can you express yourself more creatively? Well, I wouldn't push it, I'll tell you that. I think once you set your track, your path, like plot what you would like to do, what you'd like to create. If you don't have all the pieces, don't sweat it. It could be one of those things where you just gotta sleep on it, because again, there are a lot of things happening at once. There are a lot of things we have to pay attention to at once, and I don't know if people are enough people are getting the urgency of all of the things that need to be addressed right now, which is why I'm like, please, everybody, can we drop our social struggles with each other and concentrate on how can we help each other, because everyone is required for these things. So the next card is You Got the Love. So this card is a little confusing to me. There is a pair, and there's a gentleman here, and I used to think it was 3 people, But now I'm kind of, oh, maybe it is, but I kind of thought that the woman just sort of was looking one way and then turned her head all the way around this way or something. So she's like in motion. Her eyes are open. Or maybe they're not. It kind of looks like if their eyes, both of them are open, it's very little, like they're kind of tranced out. Maybe connecting with each other. But I don't know how good it's going. Because I don't get the out of focus thing. And so then there's this, I don't even know what it is. I don't know what to call it, but this business down here, it sort of reminds me of like a cave painting. It kind of looks like a bug that, like, you know, got taken out and its little feet are up in the air and it's on its back. And it just has spots as its pattern, but it's just an impression. And so anyway, you got the love. Let's see what the book says. I don't mean to make it so suspenseful. Okay, so the subtitles are Hadarian energy, codependency, boundaries. I was just going to say, I'm not going to look up the Hadarians. I think they're going to talk about it. And let me read what it says. Oh, I did that. Okay, it says, the Hadarians are believed to be beacons of pure divine unconditional love who see love in all people and situations. As a result, they can find it hard to have boundaries. Hard to have boundaried, interdependent, healthy relationships because they only see the unconditional nature of those they meet. The lovers of the cosmos, they dive in fast. They're here to learn how to love while in a separate body. To learn love, self first, and then establish healthy relationships with others. To remember that the love they seek is already within them, that they truly do have the love all on their own. I'm just going to continue. I have thoughts, but I'm going to continue. The message of this card is to review the ways you may need to establish healthier boundaries. Perhaps you're in a codependent relationship in which you may be losing your sense of self. It's common for starseeds to dive deep into relationships, particularly with those who feel safe and familiar at a soul level. Perhaps you're in a relationship which you give more than you receive, or perhaps there's a certain volatility to it, and you're always unsure where you stand. This card is a sign to do a relationship review and see what energetic agreements you've made, consciously or unconsciously, to acknowledge if there are relationships in which you feel anxious or powerless, in which you don't feel like it's safe to relax and just be you, to assess if there are any places of inadequacy you've used a relationship to soothe and cover up. Okay, so that makes the picture make a whole lot more sense. The person above is still seeking. They're still looking for their needs outside of themselves, and you can see the person who presumably is the partner. He looks very calm and still, and he's sort of not reacting to all of her. I'm gonna call it, she's like kind of freaking out. She seems volatile. She's looking over here, she's looking over there. And so, he's basically showing her the way, like, just chill, you know? I know, like, you're in a hurry, you want to do something, you want to, like, be effective in some way, but that is not what's called for. It's what's called for is to close your eyes, block out the outside world, sit and be still, and when you combine that with breathing, that slowing down, that literal breathing slows you down, like the emotional momentum, and you can find yourself as her partner seems to be demonstrating. Okay, so if I were talking about that woman depicted on that card as representing sort of like society, the part that I am trying to appeal to, that is so busy with all of this other stuff that's making them anxious and volatile and perhaps aggressive, and all of those things get in the way of your stillness, which is where you're gonna receive more information from your own self. Like, you're gonna be able to process what's happening and what you're feeling better if you're not like trying to look at 30 things at once and do like a bunch of things at the same time that you really can only do like 2 max, you know? Like, you can't like be doing 2 things over here and then drop it and then like run across town and do 2 and 3 things on the way to someplace else where you gotta do more stuff and then you gotta rush back. Like, that's like impossible. But that's why you have other people to team up with. But some things you have to do alone. You have to get there yourself. And so you have to close your eyes, look inward, and calm down and sit still. Okay. And you know, that might be like the gateway to like if enough of us that are agitated that way are able to bring themselves to that stillness and kind of make a habit of it, because it doesn't feel terrible, I'll tell you that. Especially if you're like, like calming down and getting centered, in comparison, feels great. It feels really good. Okay, so the last card is Starkeeper. I'm gonna let you take a look. Oh, it's kind of Egyptian and kind of Star Trek emblem. That's that is the vibe I'm getting off of it, but I like it. Very much like a pharaoh looking person there, and they have, it seems to be a woman. It's funny because she almost has on a hijab, and then it goes, looks like her shoulders are here, but it's like a sculpture, it's an edifice, and there's a portal in there. But interesting that it has the Egyptian motif, because there is no shortage of portals in Egypt, I believe, in the structures, the ancient structures there, that like the Valley of the Kings. There are a bunch of like arches and things that look like portals, I believe, unless I'm hallucinating a different place. You know, something about this blue around here, like this here, reminds me of the Fifth Element. Oh, I know what it is. The lady that sings, the lady, the alien lady, the blue lady. That's what it's reminding me of. Okay, I'm gonna, okay, so Starkeeper, that, it's just making me think again of, like, all of the starseeds that reincarnated here at this time on purpose to help everyone get through, or to be a part of it, you know, for their own reasons. But service, I mean, you do get something out of service on that level. You get the experience, and that's more than enough to get beings to keep coming back. So I guess when I think of star seeds being star keepers, I'm thinking along the lines of Earth stewardship of the people and the planet, because it's not separate. Like, the ecosystem and our biologies are all, like, intricately linked, like almost inseparably linked. Okay, I will look up Star Keeper. My instinct is always to go alphabetical, but that's not how this book works. That's not how they have it set up. So I always have to remind myself, oh yes, you want the index, Sparky. Slow down. Slow down with your Dewey Decimal System. It's like the third time today I've had the opportunity to talk about the Dewey Decimal System. They have that in libraries for all of you people that are not so familiar with libraries. All of you little kids that don't know stuff that are watching this. Ow. Okay, I will read the subtitles now, and they are: Cosmic Ancestor. See the life by staying grounded. You're an ancient keeper of the stars, here to anchor and seed your light in your unique way. You've likely been incarnating on Earth for some time, dedicated to an era of awakening and bringing about a long-awaited shift of the planet's evolution. That's what I'm talking about. We're at a tipping point now. The survival of Earth and all of its species is coming to a head. See, we gotta get on that climate, I'm telling you. The more grounded you remain during this transitional period, the more helpful you'll be. And that goes back to that changing your future by your present behavior, and also saying hell no to, like, more war and more aggression and more division. Hell no to the hating. Like, can we just, I'm bored of it. Are you not bored of that already? Like, I don't know, like, maybe it's maybe I've reincarnated enough times to become jaded at that level. Let me continue here. The more grounded you remain during this transitional period, the more helpful you'll be. The more you tend to the flames of your own heart, the more love you'll anchor onto this planet. The wisdom of the stars is imprinted in your soul. The more soul fragments you call home, the more this wisdom is seated here. You may be called to be in different places in the world to anchor this light. Perhaps by taking a trip or living in a certain location, you may also find yourself experiencing awakening symptoms. The more grounded you remain, the more stable Earth's energy will become, and the less reactive humanity will be. See, that's why I think that willpower that's willpower right there, what they're talking about. I think a lot of people are like me. Like, we have had enough with the war stuff and the divisions, and we just want to get on with it. And getting on with it means moving progressively toward a better future for everyone. Like, we got a lot of people that have a lot of things right now that they are unhappy with and would like to see change differently for the better. And like I was saying, the starseeds are here at this time to help with the awakening and to help with like all of the other processes that'll be evolved out of what the efforts are for cleaning up. Like, there's so many ways and so much pollution to deal with, and so many other things. Like, I don't know why this is coming into my head right now, but I think we need to deal with the wild boars, and I don't think killing them and killing them and killing them is the answer. And now I'm thinking about this other thing. So, serial killers have been on my mind today. But one thing that I was thinking of is that sometimes when you say something to someone and they're not ready to hear it, they get mad at you, and that always makes me think of a serial killer, because when they have the person and they're totally captive and helpless, and they start like begging them, like, you don't have to do this, and stop, no, and I have a family. I just feel like in most cases that's not going to help you at that point. But what I'm getting at is that they'll get mad, and it's like, I guess you don't want that particular person get mad at you about something you said. But not everyone is one of those people. And then the other thing that I was gonna say about them is that I know people think, oh well, you just think like we're gonna change, and what about all of the evil people and like the psychotics and the PDF files even? So, like the Boers, I don't think we can just slaughter our way out of the problem with them. They are people. They're different people. But I think what's going to happen is not so much that they will change. I think that is a part of what I'm getting. But what I think is going to happen is that the world will change so that they see people and themselves in a different way. And I know that they have something that can't be cured at this point in time, but the changes that the future has in store, I think, include some ways to help those people arrive at a place where they're not so dangerous to other people. And also with the Boers, I think the same thing. So, hold on, kitty. Oh, he's gone. Okay. Did I finish this? No. Okay, so, you may be called to be, oh, I already read that. The more grounded you remain, the more stable Earth's energy will become, and the less reactive humanity will be. You're here for, they're talking about ascension symptoms. I think like everyone in some way is affected, whether they realize it or not. Often, even people like starseeds are not sure that they're not having some sort of health issue, when come to find out after an expensive doctor visit that they can't find anything, and it's an ascension symptom, but there's a lesson in everything, I guess. Okay. You're here for a double mission: to grow as an individual and as part of a larger collective that's bringing about a shift in frequency. Trust that you can be in the world but not of it, and lead a truly glorious life. Okay, I think that I have covered everything I would like to say. Thank you and good night.